Hi, I'm Claire Tompkins, the Clutter Coach, and this is the Organize Your Life podcast. I am passionate about organizing because it makes my clients' lives so much easier, more relaxed, and with more time to spend the way they want to. In every podcast in the show, I'll lay out a simple organizing concept, and I'll tell you why it's important. I'll also include an action step at the end so you can start practicing right away. My specialty is chunking down this big topic so it's not overwhelming. That's the concept for this podcast, which is based on my first book, 52 Simple Ways to Get Organized. The book is available on my website and on Amazon. I work with clients in person in the Berkeley, California area and via email and Skype, so you don't have to be local to me. Visit the Hire tab on my website or email me at claire@cluttercoach.net. If you like the show, please rate it and review it. To do that, go to my website, cluttercoach.net, and scroll down for the show notes. Each show notes post has a link to leave a review in iTunes. I would so appreciate that. Okay, on to the podcast. This is podcast number 80, and it's about seeing. I mentioned the concept of inattentional blindness in podcast 69 about noticing, but I didn't elaborate on exactly what it is. Basically, it means you can look directly at something, but not be conscious of seeing it, or even remember seeing it. Scientists previously believed that eyesight was like a video recorder, registering every single thing the eye saw. Now it seems more likely that although the eye may record all, much of this information isn't processed in the conscious mind, so it goes unnoticed. So if you didn't watch the video that I was talking about back in number 69, spoiler alert, in this video, subjects are asked to watch a video of people tossing a ball to each other. 3 of those people have black shirts on and 3 have white shirts. The subjects need to count the number of times the white shirt people pass the ball to each other. At some point, a person in a gorilla suit walks into the group, faces the camera, and pounds its chest, then walks off on the other side. The ball passing continues. More than 25% of subjects do not see the gorilla. Hard to believe, isn't it? I think it makes sense, though. Particularly if your visual field is crowded, meaning cluttered, there's just too much information to process and still use your brain to perform other tasks. So the brain selectively filters out information. It's not clear how the brain makes those decisions, however. How does this apply to clutter in your home? Well, when I work with clients going through a box, for example, my technique is to remove everything from the box and lay it out on a surface, item by item, and then organize the items by type into groups. This simple method helps the eye focus on individual items instead of seeing them en masse, jumbled together in a drawer, and having their brains become inattentionally blind to half the contents. It also presents the contents in a novel way. Another side effect of inattentional blindness is being unable to see clearly a mass of items that one sees every day. In order to handle all this visual information, we rely on expectation. We expect to see what we see every single day. It's a shortcut to reprocessing that visual information. The problem is, if there's a small change, our brains will sometimes fill in that spot with the old information because there's no cue that this change is important and deserves attention. This is called confirmation bias. Often we think of confirmation bias as believing in things just because we prefer them or would like them to be true. But it also exists in situations not colored by emotion, simply because of those ingrained expectations. Confirmation bias purposely leaves out factual information because experience shows that it hasn't been needed. But then we bump up against reality again. Say you have a drawer where you keep your batteries, rubber bands, twist ties, stuff like that. One day you open it to put in more batteries, but there isn't any room. That's the cue for you to suddenly notice that the drawer is half full of a bunch of miscellaneous stuff that doesn't belong there and is taking up space. Previously, when you just opened the drawer to get a battery out, you'd be unlikely to notice that, and the drawer would go on being batteries, rubber bands, twist ties, and that's it. The good news is that you shouldn't feel bad if you've let clutter get out of control. It's a little like that story of the frog in a pot of water that slowly reaches a boil. It's said that the frog won't jump out, and then it will be too late. Its circumstances are changing too slowly for it to become aware of the danger. Now that clutter has your attention, you can do something about it. Not all at once, but little by little. Here's what you can do right now. Weed out a drawer. Refer back to podcast 65 if you want to do your junk drawer. For any drawer, follow the recipe I gave earlier in this podcast. Take everything out, lay it out in one layer on a flat surface, ideally without anything touching anything else. Organize the items by type as far as you're able. Get rid of the obvious junk. Decide whether all that stuff should go back in the drawer. Hey, thanks for listening. I'm Claire Tompkins, the Clutter Coach. If you like the show, I'd love it if you leave a rating and review in iTunes. You can subscribe, too, so the podcast will be ready and waiting for you to listen to. You'll find the show notes on my blog at www.cluttercoach.net, and you can check out my store to find books I've written and a whole bunch of other stuff. If you're a fan of the show, you can become a patron on patreon.com for as little as $1 a month. You can find my page by going to the Patreon website, that's Patreon, and searching on Clutter Coach. I'll still post the podcast free of charge, but I've got some cool rewards for folks who want to help me make the show even better. Come back next week for a new podcast.